Deciding which house to choose in Fire Emblem Three Houses can be quite a daunting task, especially with the game's release date drawing closer. Each house is varied and special in their own respective ways, and that's exactly why the choice is just so hard. But today we'll be making the case for why the Blue Lions may be the right house for you. The students who make up the rank and file of the Blue Lions are a varied bunch to be sure, most of whom hail from the Holy Kingdom of Fargus. Coming from a society built on knighthood and chivalrous duty, these students thoroughly exemplify the proud land they call home. Their dominance on the field comes from their ability to engage in deadly skillful melee combat. Although this isn't the case for every Blue Lions member, many students' strengths indeed lie in swords. The leader of the Blue Lions is of course noble in heritage, as is the case with each other house. Dmitry Alexander Blated is the Prince of the Holy Kingdom and is next in line to sit on the king's throne. His typical demeanor hides a looming shadow, but his often welcoming disposition fails to let that side of him show through often. Lances, swords, and authority are Dmitry's bread and butter, and his lacking skills in reason magic and axes don't seem to be much of a hindrance. The young man does his best to embody chivalry at all times, but perhaps his most important quality is the strength of his friendships. The embodiment of this strength, both physical and metaphorical, is Dmitry's right-hand man Dedu Molinaro. As imposing as his stature may be, Dedu's friendly nature is matched only by his will and desire to protect Dmitry, even at the cost of his own life. He has pledged himself in the servitude of the prince as repayment for a great debt. His primary skills lie in hand-to-hand combat, lances, axes, and armor, so it's safe to say this guy will be an absolute tank. His lack of skill in reason magic, flying, and cavalry all make perfect sense, as it would take one massive horse to hoist this colossus. It's true he may have been born a commoner, but Dedu has proven to be much more than just that. Of course, every house needs a brooding lone wolf, right? Felix Hugo Fraldarius seems to think so. Whether you think his name is awesome or just obnoxiously long is irrelevant, because this talented swordsman is quick to let his blade make the introductions for him. While Felix is eager to challenge those he deems worthy, combat seems to be the only way this guy knows how to communicate. His standoffish demeanor and sarcastic wit may make him quite a challenge in a social setting, but was that really hard to determine at all? Just look at those eyes. Felix's proficiency with swords, bows, and hand-to-hand combat make for a versatile warrior. He lacks proficiency with reason magic and authority, which fits the lone wolf archetype fairly well. The most interesting thing about Felix's skill set, though, has to be the solitary wolf personal skill. This allows him a +5 damage bonus when he is not accompanied by a battalion in battle, meaning this swordsman has the potential to do well when he's sent out on his own or if things get a little dicey. Sure, he may love ribbing his childhood friend Dmitry, but in the end, Felix is a more than capable fighter who can hold his own, and makes the Blue Lions the only house with 2 members bearing major crests. Another one of Dmitry's childhood friends is Sylvain Jose Gautier, a student who values his friendships only slightly more than trying to talk to the ladies. His personality and dependability are his shining traits, as he's not entirely successful in his romantic endeavors. While the charismatic young man's smile is cheery, it shelters the pressure of a family who doesn't play around. Sylvain's older brother was actually disowned by the Gautier family because he did not possess a crest, harkening back to Edelgard's sentiments condemning the symbols of power for being the root cause of Fodlan's problems. Perhaps Sylvain's family history is the perfect embodiment of why that ideology has such weight behind it. His strengths with lances, axes, and mounted combat stay true to the Blue Lion's typical proficiencies. Sylvain's personal skill also offers a damage buff to himself and an enemy damage debuff when adjacent to a female character. I guess this guy will make up any excuse just to talk to girls. And why not have one more childhood friend along for the ride? Ingrid Brundle Galatea is a dedicated girl with an intense admiration for knights. Ingrid is a Fargus-born lady through and through. With skills in lances, riding, and flying, Ingrid has the makings of a stellar cavalier. This young noble may underestimate herself a bit, but you can bet as soon as she spots food, all those inhibitions are quickly forgotten. Diligence and training in discipline and studies are traits not all those attending the Officers' Academy possess, making Ash Duran a standout student. A young gun with a desire to make himself as honorable a man as his adoptive father, Sir Leonardo, Ash certainly has a lot to prove, even if it is mostly to himself. His proficiency with bows and axes could very well make him a candidate for the fighter class, and of his known weaknesses, his reason magic is lacking. His wisdom to live personal skill offers Ash the ability to unlock doors and chests even without a key, cluing us into the likely roguish personality of this young man. Although he is one of only 2 common-born students in the Blue Lions, that doesn't seem to concern him nearly as much as making Sir Leonardo proud. Annette Fontaine Dominique is the resident mage of the Blue Lions and is quite the hard worker herself. Graduating among the top of her class at the Royal Capital's Magic Academy, Annette has proved her worth even before coming to the Officers' Academy. Her strength in reason magic and authority inform us that she will indeed be the Blue Lion's central magical combatant. The plucky young student is quick to become as energetic and hardworking as she can, which in turn tends to burn her out fairly quickly. Finally, among the students on the Blue Lions roster is Mercedes von Maltritz, the former noble of notable magical skill. Mercedes was enrolled in the Royal Magic Academy alongside Annette, leading to a strong bond between the two, complete with nicknames and all. How sweet. Her personal skill is a potentially invaluable one, as it allows her to heal herself when using white magic to heal others. This will likely mean that while Mercedes won't be on the front lines, she'll be an indispensable asset if you're expecting a tough fight. That regal look about her doesn't come from nowhere either, as her official description paints her as a former imperial noble. How or why she ended up as a commoner in Fargus is as yet unknown, but the very specific wording regarding her origin, as well as the von in her surname, suggests that she originally hails from Adrestia. Was her departure voluntary? Was she rooted out of her home and stationed by some grand scheme? These are questions that only add to the mystery and allure of Mercedes. Perhaps the most unique aspect of the Blue Lion structure is the relationship shared by many of its members. Half of the house were all childhood friends growing up and therefore are much more familiar with each other than anyone else. Interestingly enough, this is the only house in which this is the case. Said dynamic has the potential to help tell more engaging stories than may be available when playing as the other houses, as this connection and bond between Dimitri, Felix, Sylvain, and Ingrid will likely be palpable from the very start. Of course, this probably won't be a solely happy tale of friendship and camaraderie, as there is plenty of opportunity right off the bat to pull some major heartstrings. Also, the post-time skip Dimitri eye patch cannot be ignored. As a whole, the Blue Lions have demonstrably strong melee capabilities, and for players who like that aspect of combat, this house may well be the obvious choice. If you're looking for a house with a focus on chivalry and a strong potential to tell an emotionally engaging tale about friendship with a cast of interesting characters, then the Blue Lions might just be the choice for you. Will you choose the Blue Lions? Are you still unsure of which colors you'll represent? Do you think Dimitri's eye patch is undeniably cool? Let us know in the comments down below, and stay tuned to VGR to find out which house is right for you.